Welcome to the Monarchist Minute. I'm your host, William Stout. I'm here with Vice Chancellor Clements Magnolia and Watercube. How are y'all doing this evening?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent, excellent.
That's a day.
Well, Clements, you staying dry with all the hurricanes? You guys got hit with a second one just now, or has I forget what they named
It hasn't rained in about 5 days here.
Yeah, I don't think it's reached our neck of the woods yet. I think Clements is out of range for even the original
It is completely missed the coast. It is completely ignored the coast.
Yeah, no, the Outer Banks are honestly kind of just safe from hurricanes in multiple different ways.
Shockingly.
Well, it's because they have the protective barrier. It's the natural harbors. It's one of America's greatest things. The Hampton Roads region is the exact same way.
Except we don't really have harbors in North Carolina. Well, we got we got two: Wilmington and Moorhead, and that's literally it.
Yeah, but you have the natural one. What are those? The kind of raised peninsulas that kind of create a protective barrier.
Yeah,
I mean, those are the natural harbors. That's why it was a strategic region.
But
Milton, is Milton still is it still forming, or has it made landfall yet?
It already passed.
It already has?
Yeah, it passed yes.
I've been not keeping up with the hurricanes.
2 days.
Until I hear that it's getting close to Virginia, in my neck of the woods, Virginia, I tend to not really acknowledge it because ever since Sandy,
no, it's gonna run south of Bermuda into the Atlantic.
Okay, then how much damage was caused?
Well, here's my question.
I don't know.
Here's what my question: if it goes back out to sea, what happens to it? Will it eventually break up, or it has to run into something?
Well, if it goes out to sea, it can come abound for a third time.
Imagine if what's the hurricane's name again?
Milton.
Imagine if Milton just gets caught in a perpetual loop where it hits land, goes back out to sea, and just continuously goes around and around and around.
I would believe the things that leftist Twitter has been buzzing about indigenous cultures in Florida, protecting Florida from the hurricanes. I would believe that. I would be okay, I guess, yeah, no, I'm wrong. I'm sorry.
I mean, I'm just basically thinking a revolving door where it just goes back out to sea and then hits Florida again, goes back out, hits Florida again. It's caught continuously in a feedback loop from the Coriolis effect.
I'm betting if that happened, Republicans would still refuse to fund FEMA.
Oh. What was the Jeff Dunham joke from a long time ago?
I do not recall.
Oh yeah, they were talking about what Jeff Dunham's wife calls him, and the old guy, I forget what the old puppet's name is, said that he should be called FEMA. And basically what that means is that he was... God, I forget the punchline, but it basically he wasn't very satisfying results.
You just wandered me through that joke, and you don't even remember the punchline. You're one sick man.
I know, I'm disappointed in myself because I'm a huge Jeff Dunham fan.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to find this video now. Anyway, let's move on. So some interesting things are going on in Germany.
The Reichsburgers.
Oh yes, the Reichsburgers.
Gotta be one of my favorite sovereign citizen-esque movements out there. Mostly because, most of the time it's Nazis. The whole thing is that, the Weimar Constitution was never removed, thus the Weimar Republic was never disestablished, and the occupational government of the Federal Republic of Germany is, a LLC. But they don't really take in the full implication of that, which means the Weimar Constitution was never, removed. It's not, but they always go back to the Enabling Act and onward.
Yeah.
So okay, so remind me, what's the Enabling Act?
That's when Hitler seized power fully as a totalitarian dictator.
Yeah,
he was enabled by executive authority.
All right,
Permanent executive authority. It was his dictator for life, sort of law.
Okay, so the Reichsburgers are basically under the impression that the current German government is invalid because it's the result of Allied occupation in World War II, and that Weimar is still... how does that work?
The Weimar Constitution is still around, or sometimes it's goes back to the monarchy. They skip the Weimar period; they kind of ignore that. But it's kind of like the sovereign citizens, where it's there's a secret legal language. If I'm in a court and it's there's gold frills along the flag, I'm in a naval court. Law doesn't apply here. I am not a member of the Navy.
Which is stupid.
It's insane. They issue their own driver's licenses. They issue their own money sometimes because the fiat currency is not valid. The Reichsburger movement has that guy who proclaimed himself king of Germany.
Oh yeah, that. And the incredible part.
Yeah, wasn't he a member of the House of Reis?
I know he's a gymnast from East Germany who bought a bunch of land and is printing his own money and committing bank fraud.
Well,
fun.
I've also seen them make their own passports, and the sad part is they are really well made passports.
Okay, some of them are well made, and then you come across the really scuffed ones, the obvious ones, which is a very specific niche of this sort of I'm just gonna call them sovereign citizens. Reichsburger is just sovereign citizen stuff or freemen of the land stuff. It's the same ideological trend. There's also a Soviet variant, but I do not recall what they're called. They're Moroccan. They call themselves Moroccan, and there was a whole thing where they do bureaucratic bombing or bureaucratic terrorism, essentially. Where they would just letter bomb and send a whole bunch of bureaucracy that doesn't make much sense that people would have to read through and fill up their mailboxes. The Moorish sovereign citizens, that's what they're called. Which is kind of a weird deviation of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Which basically we exported our brainworms to Europe. Germany and Russia have the same brainworms that Americans do when it comes down to viewing the state as a bunch of weird rituals.
American cultural imperialism and its consequences. Anywho, but yes, these raids go back to that coup that happened. Was it a year ago or was it 2 years ago? I can't remember.
I think it was about a year or two ago. That's close enough range.
Yeah, and when we heard about this coup, everyone was complaining that this was going to hurt the German monarchist movement so much. And I have to admit, the more I hear about it, the more stupider the coup sounds. First of all, it wasn't even the actual claimant to the German imperial throne. It was some random lower noble.
Yeah.
From, what was it, the House of Reis?
Reis. Yeah.
The House of Rice. We'll call it the House of Rice just to mock him.
Well, no. The worst part was he wasn't even the eldest. He wasn't even the eldest son of that one. Anyways, he was the third son.
Yeah, no. The third sons are the ones that get nothing. So
not true. Yeah, the second sons get South Carolina. First sons get everything. Third sons get nothing.
Yeah, so might as well try to become a king via a weird coup thing. Well, why not? Write a conquest.
So it's literally the story of a nobody who tries to cause a coup and just why? Just what? I don't have words to describe how absolutely stupid and, for lack of a better term, batshit insane this sounds like.
The Marx quote comes to mind here about Napoleon, which is first as tragedy, then as farce.
Explain.
Well, Napoleon III tried doing basically the exact same thing that this guy did first time around to try to become emperor. And they just kind of like, since like the Napoleon family was still popular, they just kind of let him go. They were like, okay, we'll just forget the whole thing. Go back to your homeland or wherever we exiled you off to. Like, I think it was either Switzerland or England at the time. And he just kind of like, it was like he got a couple of soldiers that were just like big Napoleon heads and tried to overthrow the government by marching on Paris or something. It was really stupid. And like, that's the farce part about it. Like, Napoleon III is a parody of Napoleon I. Napoleon I was like this great leader, like great manager of men, was able to like build empire and build legitimacy after like the terror of the Jacobins. Then here comes Napoleon III, and the only thing he has going for him is he invented crowd control.
Well, Napoleon III had some pretty good domestic policies, by my knowledge. He did a lot of the work of trying to industrialize France.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying he was awful, but it was like, he's nothing compared to Napoleon I.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's the fact that he's trying to mimic and live up to that mythos that made it a farce. Like, and also Marx was talking from the perspective of, you know, being angry the Paris Commune got squashed, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, but the Paris Commune is kind of one of the funny things I love so much about the Paris Commune is that it was technically a scheme started by German reactionaries in order to undermine the French during the Franco-Prussian War.
Yeah, that tracks. Like, here's the thing, like, I find the Paris Commune interesting because, like, they didn't really have, like, the socialism that we deal with now or hear about now in the ideological sphere. Like, they had the still utopian idealism and, like, weird proto-anarchism stuff going on with Proudhon.
Right, that was still very early socialism, and early socialism before Marx before Lenin is phenomenally different from socialism after Lenin.
Yeah. Like, it was interesting.
Whenever I hear about the Reichsburger plot, I just have to sit here and think to myself, what exactly was their plan? They had like a few dozen people in the plot, if that, and they were planning on... How exactly were they planning on this working out?
Well, it's like the thing with fringe extremists, right? I'm betting somewhere along the line, someone puffed his chest a bit too much. Like, Operation Red Dog comes to mind, which was like the neo-Nazis in the United States' plan to overthrow the government of either Grenada or Dominica. First Grenada, then Dominica. And one guy just like acted like he had all the contacts, so it would go over really smoothly. He had none of the contacts.
He had none of the contacts?
Yeah, no, like, he had like maybe an ounce of the manpower that he claimed to have had to overthrow the government. And like, that's the thing, like, someone in that conspiracy probably was talking like, okay, I know this guy, I have these resources, we can do this, we just need you to, you know, put the money where your mouth is, sort of thing, to the other people, because like, he seems like he's coming in like basically swinging his dick over the plan.
So the thing you're saying is that the plan doesn't actually have to work.
No, like,
it just has to sound crazy enough to work.
Yeah, like, this guy's clear. Like, at least one of the people there, I would bet good money on was grifting either the noble or someone else for a lot of money to plan this thing out.
Well, they were in contact with the Russian embassy. So there is a good chance that it was just a scheme by Russia to try and undermine Germany.
Well, like, I think Russia is kind of like Pakistan, where they kind of fund everyone. So, like, if there's an insane person in, like, Germany trying to do a coup, or, like, Order of Nine Angels trying to take over the, like, Montenegrin Orthodox Church, like, that is all Russian-backed, because I forget what it's called. They have some, like, training compound where Order of Nine Angels, along with the Atomwaffen Division, and a bunch of other weird organizations that they considered bad things, but they think are good just as a tool to use. So I wouldn't be surprised if like the Reichsburgers were grouped up in that, and they like possibly went to that training place that is, I think, ran by either the FSB or by Order of Nine Angels themselves. Like, there's a giant web right now. We live in the era of mass communication that can happen kind of secretly. Like, secret enough where my majority of people would not know about it. So, like, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, we find out, like, oh, the Reichsburgers got some more training and resources from Russia, but I don't think Russia was putting a lot of resources into them. I think we would have seen something a bit more bloody if that was the case.
Right. Oh no, it's weird. I am worried that it will hurt the long-term success of the German monarchist movement. But I also think it's good that the prince came out and denounced it as well, though, because that shows moral integrity on his part.
Oh yeah, like if he said nothing, I think that'd be bad for the cause in general. Like, at most, this operates as getting rid of certain like people that undesirables. Yeah, that's a good word.
Desirable.
Yeah, like it's because like these people would never do anything productive. Because also the sovereign citizen mindset, ideologically, it isn't about like fighting for some institution or serving some cause, but oftentimes trying to get oneself into a position where they can do loopholes to avoid responsibility. Like,
it's about trying to game the system.
Yeah, like in the sovereign citizen movement in the United States, at least, that like it takes the form of shoot your mailman sort of stuff.
What did the mailman ever do?
Servant of the federal government that's not real and thus spying on you. Like, go into sovereign citizen circles, and they basically think that the state is trying to actively kill them, and that they need to do like legal loopholes around it.
The skinwalkers disguised as a Girl Scout selling cookies.
Like, it's that shit, but unironically, because sometimes they do just like appropriate Native American stuff to try to rationalize it. It's weird. The sovereign citizen stuff is weird, interesting, fascinating, and also like just concerning. And the Reichsburgers are in just the same boat. Like, they're the people that are trying to find a way to loophole the system so they have no responsibility whatsoever. They can do what they want when they want for the most part because certain laws do not apply to them. They want privilege by seeming like they're smart, which is not how you build a monarchist movement. It's not how you build any movement. Anyone's built off of like, oh, if I'm a trickster enough.
I mean, trust me, we know that. Clements and I both know that. There are some people that fit the description of what you're laying down that we've had to deal with in the past in this movement.
Sure.
Like, it's just crazy on how big these things have grown, but we also live in an era of disinformation where it's easy to recruit for stuff like this. Like,
it's easy to recruit gullible idiots on the internet.
Yeah, that's why we have like the Groiper movement now, which I saw the Monarchists of America Twitter like hitting it big from doing the bare minimum because that's now a hot take on Twitter.
Dear Hispanic Catholics, no matter how racist or anti-Semitic you are online, you'll never be white. That's all I have to say.
You have to remember, I wouldn't phrase it like that. Per se, with that tone,
I mean, it sounds bad, but it's basically okay. No, this is a theory I'm having. And this is something I've noticed more and more, but white supremacy online is becoming less and less actual racist white people, and more people who are traditionally considered brown trying to make themselves look better than people who are marginally browner than they are.
I wouldn't say traditionally considered, though. Like, for example, the Hispanic white nationalist movement, right? Like that, like Hispanic people were considered a part of whiteness for a while. And then they were changed on the census to be Hispanic people got demoted out of whiteness, basically, and then Italians and Irish people got promoted.
I didn't realize Hispanics got demoted, but I always thought we considered, since being Hispanic is usually associated with Latinos,
Well, Latinos, like, also, they have, again, like, Latino is a broad spectrum.
Right.
Like, and for the most part, I think, like, a lot of the contact between the United States and Hispanic people were with the Norte, which tended to be more, like, European ancestry than Amerindian or African.
Right, and I know that technically Latinos aren't any specific race, but are actually the largest mixed race category on the planet.
Hold on, can I want to cut in for a second here. So I was just scrolling through Twitter just for a little bit, and apparently, the former governor of New York, David Patterson, was beaten with his stepson in Manhattan recently.
Beaten by his stepson?
No, he was with his stepson being beaten.
Do they have they found a motive, or?
I don't.
Yes, political violence.
Oh no, but no, it wasn't even. Well, no, because the video shows it's young African Americans beating them up.
You never know. Trust me, that doesn't mean it's not politically motivated.
I know.
We've seen a rise of black nationalism along with white nationalism recently. Like, trust me on that.
Oh, is this an opportunity where I can make fun of Afrocentrism, or no?
I don't feel as if it's an apt time.
All right, fair enough.
It's like no need to punch down on literal, like, people who believe in Yakub. Like
Yakub.
like that's a horse that has been beaten well to death, way before we were even on the computers.
I know. It's still such a funny topic. Anyway, but and honestly, I have to say, the thing that amazes me, because for those of you who don't know in the audience, I run the MOA Twitter account, is that whenever I make those comments or stuff that ends up blowing up, I'll be honest, I'm literally just shitposting when I'm doing that. Like, these aren't even the things I put thought and the effort into saying. These are literally just the things that I say.
Yeah, the stuff that you don't try for are the ones that become bangers. That's the natural course of Twitter. Like, Twitter is not a serious place. It's why it's kind of, like, very goofy for politics to really exist on Twitter and people to take it so seriously.
I know, but the thing is, since I'm running the account for the organization, I feel obligated to take it seriously in order to keep things professional. But when I just go off and decide to do something casual or just say something very basic like, hey, Nazis are stupid, that's what blows up. Like last year, or it might have been a year and a half, 2 years ago, I posted a meme of King Felipe standing next to Joe Biden. And it was basically just a Virgin versus Chad meme. It said, the strongest Republican versus the weakest monarchist, or something like that. And that was our first viral tweet ever. Like, I wasn't even trying. I was literally just shitposting.
Yeah, because, like, Twitter is pure id. You go to Twitter, you open it, you see, like, 3 things. Someone angry, pornography, someone sad. Or a cute puppy video. Those are the 4 things, I should say. 4 things. Like, that's what Twitter consists of. So if you just say the most basic thing that people go, I agree, you'll go big there. Like, I'm like mutuals with someone on Twitter that, like, went viral just because they posted, like, a caterpillar going back and forth saying this caterpillar is autism. 14K likes.
What the hell?
Like, a message from the chat saying, like, Twitter right now is like a right-wing cesspool, and that, like, basically Musk has kind of normalized Nazis on the page, because, like, the free speech argument with Twitter and so on has kind of been, it's been taken over by, like, a lot of the fringe alt-right groups since around Gamergate, where, if I can't say the N-word, I am being censored. Like,
heaven forbid.
Heaven forbid the bare minimum of moderation. You guys have poll. You already ruined all of 4chan. Go stay there. That's your zone. Like,
and the thing about poll is that poll was originally supposed to be ironic.
Well, no. Poll was never meant to be ironic. It was meant to be a containment board.
Oh.
Like literally all the slop from Gamergate made V so bad that they tried to make Pol to push the people from V and int into Pol. But here's the thing: people started going to 4chan for Pol, so that was their introduction to the website, was the fucking Nazi shit. And then they'd go to the rest of the website, because if your introduction's Pol, you go elsewhere. It's like I went on Pol like a couple months ago just to check in, to test the waters, to see how they're doing over there, if the board's died yet, God willing. And there's a whole tutorial for people like over the age of 50 on how to use 4chan to read QAnon posts.
What?
That is the society we're living in.
50-year-olds on No,
it's meant for boomers to guide them on how to, like, Gen Xers and boomers, mostly actually focused at boomers. Like, they're what Gen Xers can navigate a chan board, I'm betting. But it's for boomers to learn how to read QAnon posts and reply on 4chan.
I completely forgot I was laughing.
That is cursed information.
My app.
Like, it's over. It's over. America's over. We the project. We had a good run.
Boomers ruined Facebook, then they ruined Instagram, and now they're ruining 4chan. We can't have nothing nice online.
Well, it's more just like that 4chan has become such a cultural fixture where someone completely uninitiated, because of the political climate. Because like 4chan's basically getting free advertisement from the political climate. Like, that's just wild to me. Because if you really want to get into QAnon or something, you end up on Pol to like go to the QAnon thread, because that's like where Q posts from. Because it was a 4chan thing. I hate that the internet is real.
Yes.
I can't wait for it to crash and or the regime to eliminate Section 230.
I'm of the opinion that we need a great reset where we basically delete everything that's on the internet servers except for like basic information. Like, I think the only thing that should be allowed to survive is Wikipedia. That should be the whole sum of information.
I don't even know about that, honestly.
Okay, here's the thing. Section 230, I think, is the proper route to go. Abolishing Section 230, right? It means that the companies are liable for what's posted on them, compared to a lack of liability, and the liability is on the person. That would immediately kill social media. That would be the first consequence. Second consequence is we'd see the internet going back to a previous form to some degree. Like, now you have to get onto a forum. Now you have to actually get into these communities, compared to it just being go to a website and be able to post instantly.
You actually
actually look for it then.
You have to be invited into the community.
Yeah, you have to be vetted, which the internet operates best like that, because the internet's an authoritarian place. Like, you have an admin, and the admin is basically the despot of whatever server he's on.
Well, I originally heard something different. Like, I originally heard someone say that the internet was meant to intentionally be anarchist, and that's why all the websites are equal.
Well, no website's equal. Like, anyone who said that is like views the internet as like some idealist like realm of forums where anything comes to life that's like, oh, we're all equal here. No. Who goes on to like the XT421 forums where this guy who wrote about like he had a self-insert for a Sonic fanfiction? No one goes on that website. That's not equal to Google.
Right, I'm not saying I agree. I just heard that's what I heard someone say. And
I just got mad at that.
Of the foundation of the internet, that's what it's supposed to be, and it just sounds. But I think deleting Section 230 would have another good benefit, and that it would finally deal with all the moral, ethical, and issues involved with internet pornography, because by making the companies liable more than they already are, it'll basically destroy their business model.
Oh, yeah, Pornhub would be screwed. Like,
I'm 110% down for that.
I am too, yeah. Just
like the net benefit, of that. Like, I'm not even really an anti-porn person. I'm gonna be honest. But the porn industry is like the great Satan. But I'm like on the left wing of things. Like, but with Pornhub, right? Like, there's so much shit that's just posted on there that is just literal rape, literal child like sex abuse material, and literal what was it? Like, just abuse. Online erotica is just in pornography, like it's slop that's meant to just rot your brain on it and encourages you to like think less of your fellow man, like be it man, woman, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we need to abolish Section 230.
I remember watching a TED Talk where they were talking about how internet porn is perhaps the greatest social experiment of the 21st century, and the consequences are a disaster for mankind.
Well, it's like the internet as a whole is the biggest social experiment there, because we give each other constant access to each other. Anyone can message anyone at any time.
And no one deserves that kind of power.
Well, it's not just like no one deserves that kind of power. People don't remove themselves from the internet. Like, oh, you're being cyberbullied? No, just turn off the computer. No, you want to be constantly like accessible, and that causes a behavioral sink. Like John B. Calhoun warned us about this. It's only really applicable in dorms and prisons, but it's also applicable with how we socialize on the internet.
Makes sense to me.
Anywho, we're over our time limit, so let's wrap up our topic. Any final thoughts?
I don't really have a lot to say, honestly. I've been doing like multiple things in the background here.
Understandable. I feel like the biggest summary we can get out of this episode today is that the internet is cancer. Go outside and touch grass.
Go talk to people. Socialize normally. Seeing another human's face helps the mental health.
Good for you.
It is good
Go
for
on a walk. Look at the sun a little bit. Don't look at it too long. I made that mistake a couple of times.
Just quickly glance at it.
Yeah.
While you're going on a walk, put in your earbuds. Listen to some of our other content.
Exactly.
Being outside, enjoying nature.
Still consume, though. Still consume our content. Make sure you're consuming.
Our content is good content.
Our content is wholesome. Like
our
wizard
content
milk.
is actually self-aware enough to tell you.
Comparatively speaking, though, yeah.
We're self-aware enough to actually be telling you, go outside. Don't just listen to our content.
Listen to the Sharp books. They're free on YouTube. They're really good. I needed to show that. It's such a good book.
Volunteer at a food pantry. Do something.
Do something with your life. Don't just something productive, please.
We've been going on like a go outside rant for about 2 minutes now. Touch grass. The call of the monarchist.
We're literally just slap. For heaven's sakes, enjoy life. You only get one.
All right. Please bow your heads in prayer. In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us of our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thy is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Thank you for joining us this week on Monarchist Minute. We hope to see you next week. Same time, same place. Follow us on social media and on YouTube. Check out our website. Follow us on Substack if you're interested in.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and all those stupid things that YouTube makes us do because the algorithm's a bitch.
And if you want to possibly help out or get more involved in the movement, join us on Discord or shoot us an email. Until then, may God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you, and good night.